Just give me the. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's the Masked Boomers for our usual time on Thursday afternoon, and we're glad to be here. And we'll take any questions, obviously. And if there aren't any, we'll still stay here and wait. Should somebody come in and want to ask something, we do have a question that we didn't get to last week that we can take. So let me refresh everybody's memory with that one. And then I'm Ward, and this is,
Ice cream soda.
and perhaps she can take the first tie. It says, "Do you guys miss any products, restaurants, or attractions that aren't around anymore?"
Hmm. Products, not so much because they keep just improving. Restaurants, you got to search them out. But the good old fashioned fountain ice cream parlor type of atmosphere
Oh, I
is
wonder why you would have said that. Ice cream soda.
soda,
Yeah.
right? Attractions would be kind of miss some of the like drive-in movie theaters and drive-up restaurants where they came out on their roller skates or they came to you to take your order. You didn't even have to get out of your car. Well, of course that's happening. Well, not anymore, I guess. Um, well, they are doing that now, aren't they?
Well, even something more obvious, even just like the neighborhood movie theater where you
Uh,
could go, on
right. Well,
on
yeah,
Saturday or whatever, and go and for just a quarter or whatever, you could see movies or newsreels, whatever. Uh, those are all things. They still have some of the same things around, but they're different. Like I remember going bowling a lot as a
yeah.
kid, like on Saturdays. But it's not.
You
They were
gotta,
just bowling alleys that were bowling alleys. They weren't trying to be restaurants and this or that, and they just did what they did.
you know, I wouldn't say that some of the improvements they've made to bowling isn't a good thing because they've just made it more interesting and fun. Um,
What they don't have a lot of those little in the city. They didn't have a lot of the little carnival things. Those are kind of country thing. I don't know. There's not much that from a city standpoint. There used to be a lot more. I don't know if it fits in the thing of attraction, but just the lifestyle thing of like as kids, it was so common to have like a neighborhood baseball game. You just go down the street playground. You just hook up with other kids because people were outside. They weren't inside the way they are now on computers or finding other stuff to amuse themselves. They'd be outside.
yeah,
I miss that. I think that's changed big time.
different games now, but
Yeah. Some of the other things. I don't know.
sure we'll think of things as we
Oh yeah.
definitely some things have been improved upon, and
Well, they've as you said, they've added to it. They try to make it more entertaining. But I guess the point that I was making was that sometimes just being able to do what it is you were doing and not have 15 things that are distracting you. I mean, it was says distracting. I mean, the object obviously has been, particularly when you go with families, have something for all the little ones to do and stuff like that to keep them entertained, so they're not, you know, being a pain. But we can stay quietly and just wait for that big question. everybody's probably so absorbed in all the stuff that's going on. And of course, now with a lot of mandates and other things going away, people kind of get back with their lives, resume a normal tempo of some kind. So I think that probably impacts it too. I mean, there's probably and the time. If people now are doing things starting to be light out later, all those things. The season's changing. It's getting a little bit warmer in places, so people are going to tend not to be inside. Doing stuff like this. They probably tend to be outside. Whether that be doing
That's not getting warmer everywhere in the country, but
well, it's making progress.
a lot of areas.
Yeah, I mean, it may still be cold, but it's making progress. Getting more tolerable in parts of the country. But anyway, we had a couple of good days. Oh, good question here. Have you noticed any similarities to current news coverage of the skirmish? Hardly a skirmish, I guess. News coverage of the skirmish in Ukraine compared to past conflicts.
Any similarities?
Similarities, and I assume by implication or dissimilarities, or likes or unlikes. Well, it might not be particular to the skirmish or to what the conflict is, although that can affect it. But the thing is the way in which news coverage handles anything like this now. It's like there's a uh, it's I don't want to do it this way because someone would automatically assume that I'm supporting the Russian invasion. Uh, you know, everyone kind of everyone just kind of goes in the same direction all together. I mean, this one now has become pretty obvious with what's going on. You got to feel for the Ukrainian people, but not every conflict, as we started out, seemed to be so clear cut. As to who was right, who was wrong. Take a lot of things in the Middle East with the Middle East war, the Israeli stuff with the Arab states and things like that. You would tend to get pros and cons. People, different groups or different news coverage, uh, siding or reporting favorably on one side or the other. Not so in this one, or trying to be objective. Favorably is the wrong thing, but just trying to be objective in what they're reporting.
Well, I think the soldiers on both sides aren't exactly sure.
The what on both sides?
I mean, the Ukrainians they have a reason to fight, and that's to keep their country.
Right.
The Russians, on the other hand, I'm not sure if they understand exactly what they're fighting for.
That's true. You don't. We have no way of knowing what they've been told.
Right.
And like you mentioned the other day when we were talking, these folks are really closely related, have been for generations. You're talking across the border. It can feel like a civil war to some of these, the border communities and cities where
Yeah.
you have
You're fighting
relatives
your
that might be,
neighbor for
or friends. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely, absolutely.
Well,
Particularly now that it's about citizens being armed. Yeah, it's a tough one. That's for sure. What news outlets have you been following or do you follow?
mm,
Go ahead.
I haven't been watching I've had a lot of things going on in my personal life that I'm not sitting watching or reading much, and I'm just hearing bits and pieces. Um, uh, we tend or I do, if I have time to sit down and listen to anything, it tends to be Fox, for a major channel. Um, there's another of the other ones that are a little too consistent, and they all seem to report the exact same thing. So I have trouble uh, believing that all of these other news networks, the way that they say it and the way that things are spoken, it just seems like they're all off the same script. So um, I go to Newsmax sometimes on my phone. Other than that, I'm not like really on top of.
Well, I I look at a variety of stuff. Not much TV anymore, as Ice Cream Soda says. That's just we just don't believe what we're hearing there. There tends to be one show perhaps in particular that we listen to. It seems to be more fact based on Fox, but even there, you get a lot of the same party lines. I tend to like to drill down and look at some of the online stuff. What was it? It's just been the Breitbart 10-year anniversary of Andrew Breitbart's death.
Oh, Gateway
It,
Pundit too.
yeah, well, the Gateway Pundit, but Breitbart was the guy who really pushed the fact that
Forgot about that.
citizens can be journalists with particularly with phones, and because of people close to us, have emphasized, you got to be able to trust what you see. Even you have to see stuff that's uncut, it's raw. So you get people like Rebel News. Their reporting is pretty good. Right side broadcasting, who might run stuff that they've recorded in its entirety. uh, Sometimes, not that it's a news channel, but I will occasionally look if there's hearings or things going on in Congress, watch C-SPAN to see some of the stuff that's live. So at least you can hear and see what people say for themselves. And so I guess the search is always for trying to find the truth. We're trying to find something that's an accurate portrayal of what's going on, rather than somebody just giving their opinion. And when somebody's opinion doesn't go with it, but yet they'll still report it, even though it's not favorable to them, then you've found a source that's pretty decent. Why, heck, I could look some of those up right now.
What?
No, no, I'm just saying. I got my device here, so while we're waiting for questions, I can be
Remember when I
getting prepped.
remember when I told you that I had heard that China had asked Russia not to do anything until after the Olympics
Yes.
were over? I heard that today again.
Oh,
They
really?
said that was a convers. Yes,
That was a conversation they had.
that they had agreed. Why? I guess at the Olympics they had a conversation. Whatever. Whenever they had it, they
So
had,
the Chinese said, "Hey, if you're going to invade, don't do it till after the Olympics are over."
yes,
Okay. Well, I was.
and
Did you
apparently
hear
that was
one of the
correct.
things? I'm assuming it's true. One of the things I heard on a variety of outlets this morning, or read online, of different persuasions, if you will, was that Taiwan was without power a big portion of the island last night or yesterday, and it hit Taipei, the capital city, another large city. And then the reason was given by the folks in Taiwan saying, "Oh, they had a problem with." the biggest power plant in the country, and that set off kind of a bunch of things that cascaded and kind of screwed up their power grid. Instantly, I start to think that, yeah, well, did that get a little help, from some cyber attack or something like that? I mean, I find myself now not willing to just automatically accept that anything kind of is a natural occurrence. It's I I just see a bad motive by anything like that happens now. Could be right, could be wrong, but
Hard not
just
to.
surprising. Hard not to think that way these days.
Yeah. Hard not to.
But in spite of the fact that they told them not to do anything, I think the Olympics they took a bath. The
Well, here,
Chinese. I mean, I don't think there certainly wasn't any public relations coup that they pulled off, and the economics of it had to be terrible. Now, here's the thing that you're looking at. I mean, it's one story. I won't. But it just typifies the range of information. You've got a thing where the Ukraine says that you know there were Russia has had 9,000 casualties, 9,000 troops. Uh, has lost over 9,000 troops, and the Russians say 489.
that's a big difference.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one side versus the other directly, but my point is, you just we can't take anything at all, good or bad, at face value these days.
Is that off the same net?
I'm sorry.
Is that from the same network reporting the two different numbers like that? Or is that just two different stories?
No, it's the same. It's one story.
Oh, okay. Off
The,
one
well, no,
network.
no, no, no. Well, the Russian Defense Ministry
Oh, gives
offered
off
their
one.
numbers,
Yes.
and the Ukrainians offered their numbers. That's
Right.
all. The two official outlets, opposing outlets. So, not surprisingly. We're going to take a break. It's 4:30, so we're going to take a 10-minute break right now. And when we come back, interestingly enough, we're finding that we're already being censored with 13 or 14 viewers, and so maybe that means we're saying the right things, just speaking the truth or speaking what we think. But apparently, that's not something that is well received by whoever is listening, other than the viewers. Anyway, but we'll see you in 10 minutes. Thanks. Hey, folks. As we look at who's watching, uh, it says zero, and which is surprising. So, but we're gonna still be here. We're still gonna have conversation uh, because we'd be very interested to know if at some point you were, if particularly if you've subscribed. Uh, have you been getting notifications, or are we already experiencing, as it looks, that we're being censored and snubbed, if you will, so that people are not getting notifications and don't know that we're going live. So, in the hopes that maybe someone might get a chance to see this even in the future, we're going to continue to do what we do, and and spend a little time trying to talk about things that are relevant and current. And while we were away, Ice Cream Soda was going off to check something, but while she was heading off to check something, she was made a few comments about COVID. And where has COVID gone?
Yeah, it just disappeared. Was the topic of discussion, and now we don't talk about it.
Why do you think that is?
And the vaccine mandate, and we have these truckers that are coming across the country. Uh,
Oh, that was supposed to be
talking
there last night, right?
talking for free, speaking
Yeah.
about freedom of choice and just freedom to speak, to have an opinion, and now they're not even talking about
Have
that.
we heard? You know
Not
what?
a
That's a
thing.
great question. Not a whisper.
Yeah, I haven't heard a thing that they're where they are or if they got to the DC. We do know that they put the fence up again.
I mean, we were as recently as just a couple days ago. Okay, there's 1,000 trucks, and there's this, and they're getting
They're
together,
picking up
and now
more.
it's and not a whisper. That's really disgraceful. I mean, but it's
Not
it's
even
proof
pictures.
positive. Nothing. It's proof positive.
And what's happening on our own borders right now?
What
We're not
bo-
even
What
talk-
borders?
Yeah, that's true. Sorry,
And the south. What border is that?
there isn't a border.
You must be talking about. I think there's a border somewhere around Guatemala and Colombia. They have a border, perhaps, but we don't. I'm telling you, it's just they're we're not hearing anything
Nothing.
about any of
Not
that,
from anybody.
and so I mean, but when we talk about not hearing about it, that's talking about standard channels or not, and channels not to be confused with TV,
Well,
but
I haven't even seen articles on some of the
on some of the sites we
I
follow. That's true.
on the internet.
That's true.
So,
I mean, it just
where did it all go?
it just reinforces the fact. What are they all in? Are they all in the same club? I mean, because some of the sites you think, gee, they would report something, but we're not hearing a word about any of that.
No, it all just went by the wayside.
Oh no! I mean, but now we're hearing that. Oh yeah, they're going after the Russian oligarchs. There's nothing more comforting to somebody who is trying to figure out how to eat their next meal tomorrow to know that we have gone after the guys like the oligarchs whose super yacht now has been impounded, and if we keep that pressure on them for the next 15 years, then that will be bad fortune for them. But I still can't be secure or have a meal today. I mean, what stupid stuff this is. What stupid stuff these policies are and what's going on.
It doesn't seem like the heads of any countries care about their citizens,
Well, I mean, people,
except for the Ukraine guy.
well, and yeah, you got to, again, taking things at face value, assuming it's true. I mean, at least the guy had the stones to say, I don't need a ride out of here, like the guy from Afghanistan who loaded up billions of dollars, gets on a plane and leaves his country behind.
Right.
At least this guy is saying, hey, I don't need a ride. I need ammunition. And and he's there with his cadre or his close circle, again, assuming it to be true, dressed and ready to fight, armed.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just bizarre. And it's just made more bizarre by the fact that you don't know, even though you see those images, if you can believe them.
Yeah. From what are yes.
And that is that's very disturbing. Uh, so anything that you see in print, I mean, everything is
But
if
our
everything's
country's
edited.
made us that
What's
way.
that?
Our country's made us that way at this point. We never used to be like, well, we just didn't know.
Oh, you mean made us cynical?
Yes, because they have they won't, you can't say anything anymore. You can't do anything.
Well, I mean, if I don't know if I should talk about the book that I'm reading, because I mean it really is about the elite club.
It's a
The
bestseller, so it
well, yeah, the Schweitzer book, and the second one, on Red Handed,
a
and
lot of people should read that book.
oh man, on both sides, if you think this is all political from one side or the other, or that's who's benefiting and the other side isn't, you come to find out the the elites are the elites, regardless of whether or not they choose to put an R or a D next to their name.
True.
The elites are the elites, and they know what club they're in and the societies that they're in, and those things transcend the political parties, and and they could care less about the rest of us. They really could, except for the fact that if they couldn't take away from us our tax money, they'd have no money at all because they don't generate anything. Except those people now, as like I said, the folks doing business with China. When you see the amount of money that politicians who, on the surface, badmouth China, but do business with them. Did you know that the Chinese government has? I can't remember the term, but there is a specific term that they use that describes favorably, in their eyes, favorably. They realize that they're trying to influence our government, and they have a separate arm that does that. From a publicity and press standpoint, and they accept the fact that people in power in this country have to say a certain amount of bad things about them, but that's okay as long as it doesn't get in the way of the really big stuff that allows them to get what they want from us. Like concessions on certain things, like maybe certain manufacturing. I mean, we just still got people over there building huge factories in China. I mean, where do you think all our Apple phones come from? Tesla's building factories in China. So they let them badmouth them, and it's a thing that's basically, I paraphrase. It's like, little insult, big reward. Okay, we'll let you say bad things about us, but only so far. And that's what they do. I mean, this is all part of a grand plan, and they look at it. We live our lives, a week at a time, in 24 hour or 12-hour news cycle at a time, and these guys are taking a long view. They're looking years in advance. Anyway, Chinese are way more patient and a lot more deliberate and a lot more measured in what they're doing than we are. Not that we couldn't deal with it, but we don't.
Yeah.
The COVID thing. I mean,
And yeah,
I mean, you know.
well, they'll never be held accountable.
Of course not. Of course not. There's too many people profiting from the medicine and the vaccines. I mean, we talked about the stories that said that people were working on the vaccines, a year and a half before the pandemic even was a reality, before we knew about it. Gee, I wonder what that tells us. So, yeah,
Well,
we are.
you still got to wonder how many drugs were around that could have help people.
Well, like the hydroxychloroquine thing, that thing's been around forever, and it's been very
But not
effective.
just that,
Ivermectin.
they've come up with other stuff too.
Oh no, I mean, but those two, the ivermectin and the hydroxychloroquine, those have been around for years and years and years, and they were effective.
But
Plus there's some other stuff, I guess, that's therapeutics that might be available. I don't know much about those though, in terms of have they been around a long time or not, or how'd they come about so quickly, and how come we still don't talk about those? How come they're still trying to pump this other crap into our systems?
well, I think they've given up on that because the people who aren't going to do it aren't going to do it. I don't care how much they scream and rant and rave. And now I would just read just in our own local paper, they're trying to get the hospital workers and they're trying to get them back
Oh yeah,
into
Yeah.
service, into jobs,
Right.
and they almost have to pay them an incentive to get them back to come back to work. And
Are
these are the
they
people that they
demanding?
let go
are
because they wouldn't get a.
Are they still demanding that they have a vaccine, or has that been
No,
let
that's
go?
been dropped because,
Is that true? It's been dropped for even the medical workers.
well, it made it sound like it because of the fact that these people all quit over some of this
Well,
stuff.
no, I understand that. I know
And
that
now they need people.
but they haven't. There's no nationwide thing that
Oh.
has dropped any mandates.
I don't
You know,
know.
it's kind of like the local jurisdictions. The states, obviously, and I mean, think of where we are.
Nobody's getting sick anymore, though. I mean, the
Well,
numbers are still continuing.
the numbers are probably no different than they've been for a long time. It's at the end of the day, it's like the flu. It's about hospitalizations and deaths. And if those numbers aren't going up, then you really, you got nothing to talk about. And I think there was a thing that by the CDC's own numbers, they were talking about the fact that their numbers dropped 90% from the beginning of the year until now. They have dropped 90%, 90, and that's probably because of the natural immunity now, because Omicron spread so quickly, and was mild, but still would provide antibodies. That's what we got, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
You know, and look at how quickly we recovered.
Yeah. So the whole herd immunity thing
It's
has
it's
has
probably
worked.
there, and they still don't know the length of time because, as you pointed out,
They can only test it for as long as it's been around.
exactly,
So
and it's
so
it's,
far,
so far 2.5 years is the limit. Why? Because that's all we know. Yeah, absolutely. This is just. I was reading that whether Pfizer or somebody was expecting like 20 or Moderna like $29 billion in revenue next year from vaccines. Well, screw you. You're not going to get them from. I'm not going to contribute to that number. I mean, brutal, just brutal. Did you see? Did I tell you? Did I tell you about the? Oh, I did tell you about the comment that Joe Rogan made on his. I read about his podcast about Bill Gates.
so
Funny. It was just funny, and it was accompanied. The article that I read was accompanied by a picture that showed exactly what he was talking about, and he said that why should we listen to health advice from a guy like this, who has
I'd like to know where some of these people got their medical degrees.
well, no, I mean, but you mean Gates? Yeah, Gates deciding what's good in vaccines. But Rogan said, hey, you got this guy with man boobs, a pot belly, and twig arms. Why would I listen to him tell me how I could be healthy and robust? Not happening. Anyway, yeah, where'd they get him? Well, Bill hasn't. Bill's experimented on people.
Yeah, well, now they're just doing it here.
Yep. Well, again, club. They're all in the club. How far are you away from finishing this one? 2 feet?
2.5 feet.
2.5 feet. Oh, well, hey, folks, once again, as I mentioned, nobody has come on after having a pretty good response the first couple weeks. So we're pretty certain that we're being shut down. But we really really do appreciate and thank anyone who took the time to watch. And please let us know, make a comment whether or not you had received a notification that the Masked Boomers were live. And also, please tap the bell icon on the YouTube channel page to ensure that notifications for our channel are on, that they're enabled. Okay, we would really appreciate your letting us know that. Again, we always thank the folks that donate, and we just hope that the show does well, and we're gonna keep coming back. We think it's worthwhile. And so next time, we will see you in next Thursday, and look forward to it. Thanks.